What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're going to be going through the brand new batch of limit break characters. Some people have already messaged me saying, which characters from this list are worth limit breaking, so I thought I might make a video on it, let you guys know out of the entire list of the new batch that are coming out, which ones are worth spending the potions and the materials on. So we're going to go through the entire list. I'm currently on the official One Piece Treasure Cruise website, and it has all the news posts about all the stuff that's coming out, of course. And here we have the notice from the admins about all of the brand new limit break characters. So I also have the database up right here as well, as I do with most other videos where I have the database in it. I have the link to it down below in the description. A lot of people ask, what's the link to that website? It's always in the description, typically, unless if I forget it, whenever I use it in a video. So anyways, let's go ahead and go through the first one, which is going to be Fukuro, number 758. So good, you can just search through with the ID numbers. So Fukuro's limit break, he has 2 sailor abilities, make strength alls beneficial, and also, makes tandem beneficial for all, but strength is beneficial for himself. Tandem beneficial for all is actually pretty good. His special ability though is trash though. It's a 6-turn cooldown after limit break, but it's just a trash special. He has int damage reduction and reduced no healing. There's just no reason to really use this character at all. Even if he had some god tier limit break, there's no reason to use him at all. So definitely not be spending limit break materials on this character. The next one seems to be Coliseum Alvida. Coliseum Alvida will boost base attack, HP, and recovery of all characters by 20, which is not amazing, and makes strength alls beneficial for this character. She actually has a pretty good special, honestly. Compared to the older characters that we have, she has a special ability that kind of can do something in today's meta. 10 turn cooldown after limit break, has strength damage reduction and slot bind self reduction. Honestly, I still wouldn't suggest doing it on this character just because you're not going to be using her that often. She does have an okay special, but only making strength orbs beneficial to herself and a very minor stat increase. I just don't think it's worth it, honestly. So the next unit is going to be Jolla, Rare Recruit Jolla, and if I remember correctly, she had the damage limiter effect. Yeah, any damage above 2,000 is reduced by 88% for 2 turns. This actually can be used somewhat nowadays. She makes strength and quick orbs beneficial for herself. Unfortunately, it's not all characters. That would have been so amazing. And boost HP of all characters by 100. She is a free spirit driven character. You don't see that class combination really that often at all. But she has quick damage reduction and pinch healing. Once again, I just don't think this is a character worth spending the limit break materials on, just because her abilities, quick damage reduction and pinch healing, it's whatever, and she has pretty average crewmate abilities, honestly. Her special was a 14-turn cooldown, and a 14-turn cooldown for that, I'd much rather just use Raid Barto, who has way more beneficial effects compared to what this character has, so I definitely wouldn't suggest spending it on Jolla. Next character is character 912, which is Sanji, and that is the 3-day 2-year. Yeah, this is 3-day 2-year Sanji. Okay, this character is actually pretty good. So with his stats after limit break are pretty okay. He makes Dex alls beneficial for Powerhouse. That's very good. And he is a 2 times a Powerhouse attack booster on a 13-turn cooldown. This is a character that would probably need some materials here. Quick damage reduction and reduce no healing duration. Reduce no healing is actually pretty good. Quick damage reduction is just an average ability. But the fact that he makes 1 colored orb beneficial for all of his class, and he also boosts the attack of Powerhouse by 75. Yeah, this is probably the best one that we've talked about thus far. He definitely rivals characters like Raid Sanji in terms of how useful he is, because Raid Sanji is also a 2 times Powerhouse attack booster. This guy's a 2 times attack Powerhouse booster, but he does do a bit of damage as well. But the Raid Sanji does way more damage. Raid Sanji also makes, I think it's recoveries beneficial as a sub. This guy makes Dex beneficial as a sub. So they're pretty close. So really, I would suggest doing it if you run a lot of Powerhouse teams, because it is nice to have variety. Sometimes you do want a Dex Powerhouse booster, sometimes you might need a Strength Powerhouse booster. It's really good to have the variety, and I think that this is the best one on the list so far to actually give limit break materials to. Okay, so the next one is going to be 1102. So that is going to be Coliseum Zephyr. This character is a pretty old school unit. On his release, he was pretty good, but let's actually have a look at what he does. So 1600 attack after limit break is pretty strong. Definitely really, really good. When HP is below a certain threshold, boost own attack by 200, and then he will also boost attack of all characters by 100 as well. That's pretty okay for a crewmate ability, but he is, what is his class? Fighter driven. typically fighter and driven teams are not going to be playing at low HP, so I don't see too many situations where these type of crewmate abilities are going to be that useful. 12 turn cooldown for, well, he does reduce his own HP, which would put him in the threshold for this, but he's a 1.75 strength and int type booster. So if you have V2 or Kainu, this guy can be run on that team pretty well, boosting both of those colors. He has dex damage reduction and critical hit chance. I mean, honestly, if you use this character a lot, I say this a lot about, on my streams a lot, when people say, should I limit break X character? I typically say, if it's a character that you use a lot, then yes, you want to be limit breaking them. And it's kind of a situation here where he's okay, but there aren't that many instances where you need to be using a character like Coliseum Zephyr. It's just the fact of, like, if you use this character a lot, then yeah, go ahead and limit break him, but there's real no need to go ahead and do it, I would say. Next is going to be 1106, which is going to be Bins. Now, Bins is a pretty old school unit as well. He has pretty bad attack, average recovery, average HP, makes Dex Orbs beneficial for shooter characters. That's a pretty good crewmate ability, as well as adding 2 times his attack as additional damage. He has a very good set of crewmate abilities, really happy with that. He delays all enemies for 1 turn, adds 0.2 to the chain, and also makes perfects easier to hit. So there's no real need to use this character once again. 10 turn cooldown's pretty low for what he does, but there's just no need to use a character like this. He has quick damage reduction and slot bind self reduction. I just don't see a point to using this character, honestly. Again, it's kind of like Zephyr. If you use this character a lot, then do it. If not, it doesn't really matter. Like, this character is just mediocre at best, really. Next is going to be 1123. 1123. 1123 is Legend Cavendish. Okay, so Legend Cavendish has pretty good attack. Obviously, he's a legend character. Crewmate ability. If this character has a quick orb and you hit a perfect, you keep it for the next turn. That's a pretty good crewmate ability, especially when you use his special ability, which grants him a quick orb. So you can just continually keeping that quick orb over and over and over again. And boost own attack by 200 if he's the last to attack in the chain. Again, a very good crewmate ability, just buffing his own attack. So he will do obscene amounts of damage, especially when we get his 6+ on global. He's going to be pretty strong. He actually gets 3 turns of cooldown reduction as well, and he also gets Enrage, Slot Bind Self Reduction, and Critical Hit. Yeah, this is a great character to get a limit break, honestly. Once again, once his 6+ comes out, he's going to be even better, but I wouldn't rush out to limit break him. He's a good character, and you can use him in a lot of different circumstances, but it really comes down to the fact of, once again, if you use him a lot, then yes, go ahead and do it. Me personally, I have Cavendish, but I rarely use the character, so until I come into a situation where I need to use him, that's when I'd probably limit break him. He's definitely not a high priority unit for me personally, but he does get really good crewmate abilities for his special ability, and he just synergizes well with his limit break. Okay, so the next one is, I believe it's Coliseum Moria. I talked about this guy recently on my top 10 Coliseum unit video. This character is a must limit break, I would say, just because of his ability to get the double special activation. Now, this character is pretty good because he can give himself a Dex Orb as well as deal 300k fixed damage to one enemy. Now, with the double special effect, as soon as you go ahead and use the special, it's maxed again, and you can use it twice in 1 turn. So you can get 600,000 fixed damage to one enemy, to random enemies, whichever character you target. And this is actually pretty good because you can use it on one room and then keep it for another room. There's lots of different applications for this character. He gets 7 turns of cooldown reduction as well, which makes him even more usable, of course. He makes Strength Orbs beneficial for himself, and if your captain is driven, boost own attack by 100. So his crewmate abilities aren't the greatest overall, but you're really just abusing him for his double special activation, which is extremely powerful considering he has a fixed damage special ability. Alright, so the next one is going to be Blenheim, Rare Recruit Blenheim. Okay, this character is a unit that not many people use nowadays. He has okay attack, I guess. Makes Strength Orbs beneficial for himself, makes Tandem beneficial for himself. Not amazing, really. His special abilities, whatever, makes Recovery and Tandem Orbs beneficial for slashes for 3 turns. In a lot of circumstances, if you're going to be using a character like this, typically you have other Sailor abilities to make them beneficial in most cases. He gets 2 turns of cooldown reduction, slot bind self reduction, critical hit. This character is just really not usable in many circumstances, and I wouldn't recommend going ahead and limit breaking him. It's a waste, really. The next is Maynard. I didn't actually see the number. What was it? Maynard, which is 1236. 1236. Maynard, Rare Recruit Maynard. Again, a character that not a lot of people use nowadays. Reduces blindness by 3 turns and completely resists blindness. What? Reduces blindness by 3 turns and then also completely resists blindness. I don't know if that's a mistype or if that's actually his crewmate ability, but basically it makes his first sailor ability completely redundant with completely resisting blindness. Okay, sure. Several times attacking side damage to one enemy, delays for 1 turn, 8 turn cooldown for delaying for 1 turn. You just don't need it. Like, it's just a character that you just don't need. Pinch healing and reducing their healing. Nah, not worth it. No way is this character worth it. Shiryu of the Rain, the character that I despise the most in this game. Is this the rare recruit one? I believe it is. Yes, this is the rare recruit one. Okay, so his attack is actually really powerful. 1590 is very strong. Completely resists silence on this character. Boosts the attack, HP, and recovery of all characters by 50. That's whatever. Obviously, we know how he works. He gets 2 turns of cooldown reduction, and he gets psi, damage reduction, and critical hit. I mean, it's again like the other characters we mentioned earlier. If you use him a lot, limit break him. If not, there's no reason to do it, because if you have to be using Shiryu to clear content, then, I mean, it is what it is. But no, just don't. It's a waste. Foxfire Kinemon. This is another character that I was talking about earlier with Moria, who gets a really good limit break. This character, he gets a pretty good attack, of course. Crewmate ability, boost attack, HP, and recovery, slashes, and free spirit by 50. Makes deck builds beneficial for himself, and as we know how he works with reducing special cooldowns and also giving some matching orbs, but he actually gets the special ability of double special activation. So you can activate his special twice when you get it up, which means that you can get 2 turns of cooldown reduction with his special ability, which is pretty strong, honestly. On a 5-turn cooldown, this makes slashes and free spirit teams extremely fast, being able to get their specials up very, very quickly. I would say this is probably the most important character out of the entire batch to max out, I would say, because it enables you to speedrun a little bit faster. But honestly, it comes down to what you have in your character box, but this is a very good character to max out. Okay, so the next one is, I believe, another Coliseum unit, Coliseum Giratsu. So this is a character that's just kind of like very mediocre, driven free spirit, pretty average attack. It restores on special cooldown by 3 turns when it's rewinded, which is actually pretty decent, and reduces silence duration on this character by 3 turns, again, pretty decent. Delays for 1 turn, cuts HP of all enemies by 10%. Unfortunately, does not get any cooldown reduction. If he went down to like a 7-turn cooldown or something, this would actually be pretty okay, but, I mean, it's not the best. Strength damage reduction and pinch healing. Nah, this character is like so mediocre. There's no real reason to do it, honestly. I really wouldn't suggest it. I mean, the fact that he reduces his own special cooldown by 3 when it's rewinded means that, you know, if you do have to like stall a turn to get your specials back up, you can actually use his special ability to delay the enemies. That's the only situation I see this character actually being somewhat useful, because special rewind is one of the most annoying abilities to get around. But in a lot of situations, I really don't see myself using a character like this, so I really wouldn't suggest maxing out Giratsu. 1362, who is that? 1362 is... this is Legend Zoro. Okay, Legend Zoro, pretty good unit. Actually, let's go to his 6+, because that's the more important one to look at. So 6+, 1755 attack is pretty good. Makes Dex beneficial for slashes and Tandem beneficial for slashes. Very, very good crewmate abilities, making 2 of the 7 natural orbs beneficial. He gets 1 turn of cooldown reduction, and he gets quick damage reduction, slot bind self reduction, and critical hit. Yes, this is a good character to max out. Obviously, this whole batch trying to, you know, boost slashes a little bit. The fact that you got, you know, Coliseum Kinemon getting his limit break, Cavendish and Zoro getting his limit break. As a sub, this character is so strong for slasher teams as a sub now, and he's a pretty good sub as well. Obviously, as we know, being a 2.5 chain locker and a 1.75 type booster for his class. Yeah, this is a character you want to be maxing out for sure. Okay, so the next one is 1475, which is going to be King Neptune, everyone's favorite character, King Neptune. We all know how he works. 1550 attack is a pretty nice increase. He makes int Psi Tandem beneficial for himself as his natural ability, but his secondary one through Limit Break boosts attack HP and recovery of all characters by 30. In most cases, you're not going to be using this guy as a sub anyways. He gets 1 turn of cooldown reduction, which is quite nice. He actually gets another socket spot as well, which is pretty useful, especially if you're going to be using him for Fortnite farming, you know, allowing you to get either cooldown or orbs or damage reduction or whatever you need. And for his abilities, he gets pinch healing and dex damage reduction. Like, honestly, like, he doesn't actually get that good of a limit break, but it's in the same situation as before. If this is a character that you use a lot, then I would suggest doing it. Me personally, I use Hody a lot for Fortnites as well, so I might be tempted to max limit break this character, but there's no real rush to do it. He gets the cooldown reduction, which is quite nice, but the sailor ability doesn't really matter, and he gets like pretty average abilities here with pinch healing is kind of whatever, and dex damage reduction is very niche as well. But I mean, if you use him a lot, I would suggest doing it. Me personally, I'm probably not going to max him straight away. 1612, let's see, I believe that's rare recruit Kuma? Yes, okay, so this is rare recruit Kuma. This character, 1400 attack, whatever. His ability is cannot be blown away as his limit break sailor ability. This is okay, actually. This can be used in certain situations, but it's very, very niche. He doesn't get any cooldown reduction, unfortunately, and he gets the int damage reduction and double special activation. I actually did not know this character got double special activation. So he reduces Bind and Despair by 7 turns, recovers 20% of your max HP, and has a low chance to defeat each enemy. This is actually really interesting because with the double special activation, you can get double the chance to blow away an enemy. You also get double the health, so you get 40% of your health back, and you reduce 14 turns of Bind and Despair. Now, in a lot of situations, there's no real need to reduce 14 turns of Bind and Despair, but it's there if you need it. So, I don't know, this is a very niche character. I'd say it's kind of the same situation as Coliseum, no, not Coliseum, Rare Recruit Shiryu, where if you are using a character like that to clear content, then this is another character you'd want to max out, because that's actually quite interesting. I did not know he actually had that, so you get double the chances to actually abuse the instantly defeating an enemy. Pretty interesting, but he's not a character you're going to be using that often in most cases, so I would say probably skip this character. And the last character is 1921, which again is, I believe, the 6+ Zora, 1921. Yeah, so that's 6+ Zora anyway. So anyways, I guess that's kind of it. That's me going through the whole brand new limit break list. So just to overview the characters that are the best ones to limit break, I would say this Sanji's very, very good to do. Cavendish is great. Moria is great. Kinemon is great, and Zoro is great, and then maybe Neptune, depending on how often you use him. But I think this is a decent batch of limit break characters, and obviously it does introduce the double special thing, as we've seen with 3 characters getting it, with Moria, Kinemon, and Kuma. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something about these characters that are coming up. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.